that if you are listening to this and you struggle with this, I want you to know that I myself, to this day, struggle with the concept of theme. Theme seems like a giant word that feels indefinable when it comes to storytelling, because it's always like you'll hear a lot of gurus and a lot of writer people talk about, well, what's the theme? What's the theme? And all they're really saying is, what's the story really about? What is the moral behind, not even the moral, but what's the thing behind all of this? What's the framework of your story? And the thing about theme is that you, as the writer, will come up with your idea of it. It'll be what you were trying to say. But then the good thing about story, being the connective tissue of our civilization, is that everyone will have different interpretations of what the theme will be. For me, the theme of this story was about hope and remaining consistent in your pursuit of an ideal, regardless of what stands in front of you. That was the theme that stood out to me. I like to think of stories in the term of philosophical statements. If you know me and anything about my creative stuff, that's always how I choose to think about it. What is the philosophical statement? What is the thing that is being said? How do you define it by one single philosophical statement, sentence? And for me, I think that's what it is. I think it is this, sometimes we must overcome all odds in order to achieve an ideal. And at least that's my perspective of it. But I'm interested in what you guys thought about the theme. What did you come away with? Whether that be a one-word thing, whether it be a sentence, what was it that you came away from this when it comes to theme?
I would say the phrase that I came away with was the very last line of the song, of the entire musical. This is the sound of something being born. Mm-hmm. The finale, Cleon gets reunited with the rest of the warriors and they finally defeat Luther. And they have this beautiful song about, first of all, mourning and honoring the people who died along the journey. So Fox, and Cyrus, and they mourn those people, they honor them for their sacrifice. And then they look forward to someday in the city, this is what it will be like. And this is the sound of something being born is a line that was used in the very first song too. So this is another note of your theme should be the connective thread throughout your entire story from the very beginning to the very end. And I think it was just done so beautifully. Again, made me cry.
First of all, I want to throw out there that I think, to quote, if there's something Chris Sanders, he's the one of the masterminds behind Lilo and Stitch, which is like the best thing since sliced bread ever, and How to Train Your Dragon 1, and recently The Wild Robot. That's what he's been really kicking around lately. But he said in an interview once, he's like, themes do not get butts into seats. So something positive, again, for writers, that you don't have to give a giant treatise on life. Charlotte Bronte already beat you to it, first of all. Second of all, but you don't have to do that. Just tell the story and stuff will come out. Stuff you will not expect. Stuff you will not expect, period. So just tell the story, find that later. But for me, what I take away from this that I find really powerful, and again, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, and I hope this doesn't come across badly, but it's fight together, because all they have to do is just keep on fighting and punching their way through and keep going and going and going. Don't stop, keep fighting, go, 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 and they find something, but they do it together. So notice in the end, Luther comes at them like a chump alone, and they kick his butt, because none of them could have survived without doing this together. None of them could have been without Cleon. They could never have proven anything. Without Fox, without Mercy, you have to come together to survive a place like New York City. So you have to keep fighting, but you have to fight together. You can't do this alone.
Mhm.
And which I thought was it's weird because honestly, there's like all this pulp, fighty comic booky stuff, but it's very, very much more inspiring now that I think about it, than it initially sounds, which is pretty fantastic.
That actually is a perfect segue into the lesson that I took away from it, which was throughout the song. I think there were 3 instances. It was a refrain that was commonly sang throughout the song, where they did the roll call of, every warrior say your name, sound off, are you here still? And I think there were 2 or 3 times specifically when they sang this refrain that each of the characters or someone else in the Warriors gang would point out the strength of each other. And I think that there is something so beautiful. I am super honored to be a part of this team here because we bring so much diversity to the table, and we each have such different perspectives and different strengths, and they come together so beautifully. And I think that that's a huge lesson to learn as you're going through life. I mean, whatever your endeavor is, but especially when you're trying to build something that's bigger than yourself, like for us, trying to run our own media company that tells stories for people who don't have a voice themselves and amplifies the voice of people who are oppressed. I think that it's so important to recognize the strengths of each other, call them out for each other, and also recognize your own, because that's that's really the key to your power.
That's a beautiful.
As Stephen Sondheim would say, no one is alone, which is Stephen Sondheim's reference number 2. So I did not mean to undermine your point, but it occurred to me, this is, again, musicals here.
I agree.
You underlined it, not undermined it.
I agree. Look at that. Look at that teamwork. I love it. No, I agree though. I think that I feel the same way. I think that was kind of the lesson that I learned too, was the value of getting yourself a team. To Charles's point about sticking together because it's the only way that you can defeat this thing. It's interesting that that's the ultimate point, that's the ultimate theme in essence from his perspective. It's also it's the lesson our heroes had to learn. It's the ideology that we all need to sort of accept, is that we are stronger together than we are individually. And I think that if you are just starting out in your writing journey, or you've been doing it for a while, the number one lesson I can impart, it's not even writing lesson. It's just learn to surround yourself with people that support your vision, your ideas, and your goals, and work with them towards that thing. And I know that's not always easy. In our situation, we live hundreds of miles apart from each other, and we don't have the ability to just walk out the door and go see each other or go into an office together and connect. We are separated, but together we are trying to get to Coney Island, and we're doing that through this. And I think I personally feel incredibly lucky to have met and worked with these guys, to have said, hey guys, this is the idea that I have. Would you be crazy enough to go on this journey with me and try to make it a thing? And they said yes, and they have done above and beyond for me. They've shown up for me, they've shown up for themselves. And I think that it's important that when you are trying to be a writer, that you find, whether it be an editor, whether it be a coach, whether it be a writing partner, whether it be a beta reader group, whatever it is, find your tribe and make sure that they are showing up for you and you are showing up for them. Because no matter if you have that, no matter what you come up with, it's going to be amazing. So that is the lesson that I learned. Charles, what's the lesson you learned? Did you learn a lesson?
Well, I think the theme for me is that lesson there, what I said before about fight together. But I think just